If you've been scrolling through endless listings of heated food cabinets, comparing dimensions, colors, and a mountain of technical jargon, and you're still not sure which one actually makes sense for your kitchen, this review is going to clear that up. I've spent a good chunk of time talking to a few catering managers, watching a couple of food service operations in action, and digging through the specs that matter when you're trying to keep hot food safe and ready to serve. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the Cambro Ultra Camcart H-Series front-load cabinet isn't a flashy countertop gadget. It's a workhorse designed for the back-of-house where you need reliability more than style. The whole idea behind this piece is to give you a single compartment that can hold a standard food pan, keep it above the minimum temperature required by HACCP, and do it with a footprint that can slide under a prep table or sit in a narrow service aisle. That's the core value proposition, and it's worth breaking down what that looks like in a real kitchen. Let's picture a typical scenario. You're running a small banquet service, and you need to keep a tray of roasted vegetables hot for a 2-hour buffet. You could toss them in a regular insulated carrier, but after an hour they'll start to cool down, and you'll risk the food dropping below safe temperature thresholds. With the Cambro front-load cabinet, you pop the pan into the door, lock it, and the internal heating element maintains a consistent temperature, usually around 140150 F, which is enough to stay in the safe zone without overcooking the food. The fact that the unit is front-load means you don't have to lift the whole cabinet or wrestle a heavy lid off the top. You just slide the pan in, which is a genuine time saver when you're juggling multiple dishes. Now, who should actually consider buying this thing? If you're a catering company that frequently serves hot entrees for events, a restaurant that runs an all-day service line, or a school cafeteria that needs to keep a few trays warm between prep and service, the Cambro H-Series fits nicely. It's also a solid pick for a food truck operation that wants a compact, durable hot box without committing to a full-size line cook oven. The dimensions just over 26 inches deep, 18 inches wide, and nearly 25 inches tall mean it can tuck into a corner or sit on a low counter without dominating the space. The black polyethylene exterior isn't just about looks, it resists scratches and stains, which is a practical advantage in a busy kitchen where spills happen daily. On the flip side, there are clear reasons to walk away. If you're a home cook who only needs to keep a casserole warm for an hour, this cabinet is overkill both in size and price. It's also not the right fit if you need multiple temperature zones or the ability to hold several pans at once. The single compartment design limits you to one pan at a time, and you'll have to plan your service flow around that constraint. Likewise, any operation that relies heavily on glass-top hot plates for presentation might find the front-load door cumbersome, because you can't slide a glass pan in as smoothly as a metal one. When it comes to practical strengths, the first thing that stands out is the consistent heat maintenance. In my conversations with a few food service managers, the biggest complaint they had about other hot boxes was temperature drift. Either the food gets too hot and starts drying out, or it cools down just enough to raise a health code flag. The Cambro's heating system, paired with its insulated polyethylene shell, seems to stay within a narrow band, which translates directly into fewer temperature-related headaches. Another advantage is the durability of the material. Polyethylene isn't going to dent the way thin metal cabinets do, and it can survive the occasional bump from a rolling cart. The front-load design also means you can keep the cabinet on a low shelf and still load it without having to reach up or down dramatically, which reduces the risk of strains for staff who are constantly loading and unloading pans. Weaknesses are more about the trade-offs inherent in a single compartment unit. Because there's only one pan space, you have to be strategic about batch timing. If you're serving a buffet with several hot items, you'll either need multiple units or a rotating schedule that can cause a bottleneck during peak service. The heating element is built-in and not user-adjustable, which limits you to the preset temperature range. That works fine for most hot foods, but if you're trying to keep a delicate sauce just above a simmer, you might find the cabinet a bit too hot. Finally, the price point sits higher than a basic insulated carrier, so you have to justify the expense with the volume of use you expect. For a small operation that only runs a few events a month, the return on investment could be marginal. Let's talk about the real-world impact on workflow. In a medium-sized catering kitchen,